Hey, what is up, people? So before the podcast, I just want to give a little bit of context, just some experimentation, trying new things out. So in this episode, we have the classic case study, so the history, background, just the story behind Venmo, or the business. In this particular episode, it's Venmo, but we are going to put the case study up front. So like the first 25 minutes will be the traditional case study, and then we are adding the interview at around the 30-minute mark. So yeah, just stay tuned. If you just want to skip the case study, go ahead, jump right into the interview at around the 30-minute mark, and yeah, just giving a heads up. So thanks for listening. What is up, people of the world? We're listening to episode 22, Venmo, turning a transaction into an experience. So just a little background on the history of Venmo. We have two college students at the University of Pennsylvania in 2001, randomly paired as roommates. So these two students, Ikram was a CS major and Andrew was a double major in philosophy and creative writing. He was previously a CS major as well, then switched to these two majors because he was learning a lot more doing his homework rather than in class. So yeah, it definitely seems smart that he did that. If he's already good at one thing, he can just learn something else, you know. So, but both of them were just a perfect team. They worked on a lot of different projects together. One of their first projects was called My Campus Post, which is basically a college news site. And they didn't get any crazy job offers after graduating. They're just regular people. So yeah, it's pretty cool that they're living just regular lives, you know. But both Andrew and Ikram sublet an apartment in West Philly, and they built websites for random people. One project they both worked on was called Philifunk, which is basically iTunes with a social aspect to it. And from this, they learned that it's execution over the idea. Business knowledge was an important ingredient in finding success in their ideas. So it definitely takes different backgrounds and different skill sets to create something beautiful, you know. And then they spent a lot of their time, or after that, they spent just time working for different companies and gathering knowledge and experience. And then they just loved working together. Just really, really great friends. Some ideas that they worked on were called Yogorino, which basically turned a computer into a POS system, which is a point of sale. And they didn't really want to work on it because they didn't use it every day, and it wasn't as exciting to them. And then they started this new idea, or they worked on this new idea called live music, and it's basically you could get a recording of the show directly to your email by texting the band. And I think this is like a seed to what they have today. It's a P2P, a person-to-person transaction, and yeah, just from band to like person who attended the concert. It's just a connection between those two, and that's pretty cool. They got the Venmo name from the Latin root vendere, which means to sell, and mo from mobile, and they combined the two and got Venmo, and it fit their 4 pillars of a good name. It was short. 5 to 6 letters. Could be a verb. That's like an example is like Google. Like, can you go Google that? And it didn't have unintuitive spelling. It's pretty easy to spell out when you hear it, and it was pretty cheap. They got it for I think $8 from GoDaddy. So it fit all of their criteria, and today the full name of their company is Venmo LLC. The grand vision of Venmo at the time was it enables anyone to accept payments for anything at any time. And today their Venmo's motto is a little more concise. It's connecting the world and empowering people through payments. So after all of their ideas that they worked on, they finally filtered it out and finally got it down to one specific idea. And the idea for Venmo was the co-founder, Ikram. He was in NYC working on the music idea that I stated, or that they were working on, and he left his wallet in Philly. So this was a commute to work on the idea, and then Andrew spotted him for the whole trip. And after that, Ikram was writing a check to pay back Andrew, but it seemed a little bit off because everything else was pretty high tech, everybody was using their cell phones, and they weren't really writing checks to each other. PayPal was around, but nobody was using it to pay back each other. None of their friends used PayPal either, and this gave Andrew and Ikram the idea to fill the niche and this problem to solve. So they originally had a prototype test of sending payments over SMS text, which is pretty simple, and it just typed in their name and the amount, and it worked. Then they decided to add a little note feature to identify what the money was sent for, and it immediately became a hit. And they also added an option where you could make the payment public by putting the # key or the hashtag P, and it would show up on the Venmo website. Then once the prototype was complete, they sought after potential investors, but nobody was really interested. But they had a mutual friend and their dad become one of their first investors of Venmo. So yeah, basically they wanted to solve a problem of P2P bill splitting, and they wanted to make it easy. Push payment to the back and just focus on in the moment and experience. The co-founders, Ikram Magdan Ismail and Andrew Cortina, were the co-founders. And yeah, they just needed to split a bill for a trip, and it was a hassle, and then Venmo was born. So after all of their smaller test ideas and gaining experience over the years, they founded Venmo in 2009. So that's like 8 years after what they met, which is they've been friends for a pretty long time. So yeah, pretty cool how things fall into place. Yeah, today Venmo is still around, super popular. It's a public company. It's owned by PayPal. Has about 450 to 500 employees. Venmo was first acquired by Braintree, it was first acquired by Braintree in 2012 for 26.2 mil. It's a lot of money. And then Braintree was acquired by PayPal in 2013 for 800 mil. So just a lot of money, just very valuable stuff coming out of that fintech area. So yeah, both Braintree and Venmo are under the PayPal umbrella, so they're working for the same team, but both of those companies operate separately. And they do have frequent collaborations with other umbrella companies such as PayPal, Braintree, Zoom, Synchrony, Payden, and Swift, just to name a few. And the product and service that they provide is allowing people to split their bills pretty easily via that app, the Venmo app. So this is a lot of the consumer side of things, but we'll get into the lens of a merchant later in the episode. And they make it really easy. You can just type in their name, phone number, or email. And Venmo does link to a credit card, debit card, or a bank account. It just charges a 3% fee if you use a credit transaction. And first, you're limited to $299.99, so $300 until your account is verified. And then once you get verified, you can send up to $2,000 or $3,000, so $2,999 each week. They have a new product that released in 2018. It was the Venmo MasterCard. This is a physical debit card, and it's accepted anywhere that accepts MasterCard, limited at $400 in daily ATM withdrawals, and has a fee of $2.50 at non-money pass ATMs. So it's pretty similar to a regular debit card, but you can see your spending through the Venmo app. In addition to the app, they have a social component, and this is just a personal list, friends, and the World Wide Web of people who use the app, and you can just see how people are spending and splitting their bills. It's kind of weird, but yeah, people like it. People want to put social media in everything. This is pretty cool. It allows for free marketing when people purchase certain types of things. You can put like the brand, like I bought X brand for this amount, and it could basically just give them free marketing. So it's kind of cool like that. Get some millennials going through there. Some recent changes is in 2016 they started testing merchants accepting Venmo as a way to pay, and in 2017 all merchants who accept PayPal can accept Venmo, and this is generally online transactions. But in May 2018, Venmo was not permitting selling goods at or services in person. So it was mainly Venmo, or PayPal and Venmo were definitely, I'm getting tripped up here. Venmo was definitely more for online stuff, and then they made it so people could purchase services and goods in person. So they broke the barrier from online to in person, which is cool. And they soon started to explore the in-person transactions via Venmo QR codes, and that's pretty similar to WeChat and Alipay in China. So yeah, like a lot of the transactions in China are digital. So they have an account. It's basically Venmo, or their credit card linked to their phone, and they pay via QR code. So when they want their coffee, they don't really pull out cash anymore. It's just a QR code, and they walk out the store with their coffee. So yeah, there's a loss of connection with that money. So people probably tend to spend a little bit more. And yeah, there's some psychology done behind that. When people don't see the money, they tend to spend a little more, or they're okay with it because they don't associate, or they don't feel that pain when like $100 is leaving from them. But yeah, very interesting. So what makes Venmo special? I personally think that Venmo is special because of millennials. They're using the app. They're paying for stuff, sending money. Putting weird emojis to everything that they pay for. It's interesting. So yeah, I think that's why it's different than like PayPal and all those other ones, because Venmo's not as serious, because I mean they know their niche market, just a bunch of millennials eating pizza, buying beers and stuff, But yeah, the secret sauce of Venmo is turning a transaction into an experience by sharing the transaction